hola, ¿cómo estás? Daddy Matt right here on the Now Report. Na wacha nikuambie, hey, jana kuna watu wamefurahi. Jana kuna watu wamefurahi sana. Mimi nikiwa mmoja wao, kwa sababu ningekuwa mtu wa kuwekelea mawe ningeekelea. Na ningekuwa ninafurahi saa hii. Hiyo confidence bado ndio sijapata. Lakini hopefully one day, one time nitawahi pata hiyo confidence. Lakini kwa sasa wacha nikuwe tu shabiki wa kuangalia mbali, because yesterday Spain did the thing against Argentina, and of course that was going to be the first story. I mean, hiyo ndio imetuweka watu wamekuwa awake hadi 4 a.m. because of the game of Argentina versus Spain, where Spain won 1-0 and have been championed, the FIFA World Cup winners 2026, hosted by America, Mexico and Canada. Na wacha nikuambie, machozi ilitoka jana. Watu wa Argentina mlikuwa mnatarajia nini? Game inaenda 20 shots versus 2 shots. 12 shots on target against 0 shots on target. I'm sure hii analysis yote mmepewa na watu wa sports hapa na pale. Lakini kuna watu wako hapa wanasema, unajua tulikuwa tumeekelea, mlikuwa mna ignore Spain wapi? Anyway, wacha tuachane na mambo ya futa. World Cup frenzy is over. Unfortunately, now we have to wait for another 4 years to see how exciting it's going to be. I believe the World Cup is going to be held this time in Morocco. Yes, it is coming back to Africa. Wacha tuone vile kutakuwa. Kama Cabo Verde wataingia huko, wafanye ile kitu tena. But before that, of course, kuna Africa Cup of Nations hapo katikati. Cabo Verde, tunawategemea. Nyinyi ndio mtainua Afrika. Ama vipi? Alright, wacha tuingie stories zingine, because trainees across Kenya are on strict notice as the Kenya National Examinations Council, that is NEC, commenced the July 2026 business and technical examinations with an uncompromising warning against malpractice. Under tough guidelines issued by NEC Chief Executive David Njegere, candidates must undergo security screening 15 minutes before exam ianzie 8 a.m. Na latecomers watakuwa disqualified waki-exit 30 minutes past the bell. The council explicitly ruled out last-minute withdrawals, wakisema candidate cancellation had to be registered long before the first paper. Kisikia tubaridi tutaingia hivi kidogo. Backing their warning with statutory muscle, NEC highlighted that under the NEC Act, individuals ambao watashikwa wakileak materials wataface up to 10 years in prison and 10 years in prison and a 2 million shillings fine. That is, it can be both or it can be either. Furthermore, widespread institutional irregularities will trigger the immediate nullification of course, not just them, but of an entire examination center's results. Oh yes, leaving heads of institutions responsible for absolute compliance throughout the testing window. Wacha nikwambia watu wa Kenya, mumepatikana. Hamuwezi fanya hiyo kitu tena. Hiyo idea ikikuja kwa kichwa, zima hiyo kitu, zima hiyo kitu, especially if it's technical institutions. We'd want people who have the technical skills coming into the job market to be genuine and well-earned certifications. Sawa sawa. Now, tumeachana na ya Kenya kidogo, wacha turuke pale UK, kwa sababu ni kama zile vitu ambazo zimekuwa zikihappen dunia yote ni mzito kuliko Kenya, kwa sababu Kenya ni kama weekend ilikuwa imetulia. Because in a bid to end a decade of political volatility, the UK's new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, arrived at 10 Downing Street on Monday. Hiyo ndio ofisi ya Prime Minister pale UK. Na pledge a 10-year master plan to stabilize the economy na ku-ease cost of living crisis ambayo iko pale UK. Accompanied by his wife, Marie-France Van Heel, the 56-year-old Labour leader accepted the role from King Charles III following the sudden resignation of Keir Starmer, acknowledging he is the country's 7th. Since when? 2016. Oh yes, 7th Prime Minister since 2016. The former King of the North immediately promised short-term relief for citizens and a sweeping mandate to eradicate street homelessness. Parachuted back into parliament just 4 weeks ago, Burnham faces a tight timeline to reassure global allies, steady volatile markets buffeted by the US-Iran war, and curb the rise of Nigel Farage's Reform UK party before the 2029 elections.
I am acutely conscious that I am the 6th person in the last 10 years to walk up this street, the 7th Prime Minister since 2016, making this a moment for reflection and new resolution. We will make this moment a circuit breaker for Britain, bringing forward the biggest changes in the last 40 years, a new political model and a new economic model. We will help more young people into work by changing the education system and giving them more support, more mental health support.
I really rate Andy Burnham for what he's done with Manchester. I think he's wicked. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a bit worried. I believe he's part of the Labour Friends for Israel, which is not awesome. But I don't know. Cautiously optimistic.
Well, he seems to be a nice person, and he seems to be wanting to get the country back on its feet, and that's what we want. And I say give him a chance. Yes, it does worry about the amount of prime ministers we've had, because they all seem to do a little bit and not carry on with it. You know, and it makes me think, well, what is all this about? Why do we keep changing these prime ministers?
It actually seems that in the UK, mambo yummy enda segem nege. But we actually hope that this Prime Minister is going to do something. And of course, ataingia kwa hiyo vita ya kujaribu kutem president fulani wa country kingine hapo hivyo kalikuwa kakihost finals za World Cup. Atatulizwa kidogo. Yeah, atulizwe kidogo. Aya, continuing with our international wrap-up. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa joined thousands of citizens at Johannesburg's DP World Wanderers Stadium on Sunday for the annual Mandela Day Walk and Run ya kuona the global legacy ya Nelson Mandela with a rallying call for national unity and social justice. The high-energy event, which featured 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, and 21-kilometer routes, served as a massive weekend culmination for Nelson Mandela International Day, ambayo inakuwa observed globally on July 18th. Sounding the horn to kick off the races, Ramaphosa praised the immense diversity of the crowd, urging participants to view every stride as a literal march in the footsteps of Madiba's core values of integrity and human dignity. Organizers wali highlight that this year's mobilization, anchored by the theme, "It's still in our hands to combat poverty and iniquity," directly channels the iconic leader's 67-year struggle for freedom, who encourage communities who are engaged in active public service, while raising vital support for the ongoing social justice programs spearheaded by the Nelson Mandela Foundation.
Madiba globally. I saw pictures in London, I saw pictures in New York, I saw pictures in Addis Ababa, I saw pictures in many other places. So what we are doing today, we are doing in honor of Nelson Mandela. And in many ways, let's see ourselves walking in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela. Every step you lift, every foot or heel you put down, let us be doing it in honor of Madiba, the values that he stood for, the principles that he upheld, and the integrity that he lived by.
Karibu niseme huyu si South Africa until aseme the values and the principles. Kidogo nishindwe huyu ni mu South Africa kweli, lakini kako kwa umbali. Now, mnakumbuka, okay, ninaweza kuwa nasema mnakumbuka na ni realize ni kama niko peke yangu, Gen Z wanaweza kosa kukumbuka hii. Lakini millennials mnakumbuka, millennials na boomers, mnakumbuka zile vitu tulikuwa tunasoma za COMESA na ECOWAS. Very nice. bado ziko na zinaendelea. And now Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye officially assumed the rotating chairmanship of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, during the bloc's 69th ordinary session in Freetown, Sierra Leone, firmly placing Dakar at the epicenter of regional diplomacy. Taking over the ceremonial gravel from outgoing Chair President Julius Maada Bio, the 46-year-old Faye faces an uphill battle to preserve the 50-year heritage of the community amidst its deepest institutional crisis. The bloc is currently grappling with a severe regional rupture after military-led Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger fractured away from, to form their own alliance of Sahel states. In an historical double win that cements Senegal's absolute political dominance over the institution, Senegalese General Biram Diop, a former armed forces minister and veteran United Nations military advisor, was simultaneously appointed as the president of the ECOWAS Commission. Set to assume office at the executive headquarters in Abuja on 1st of September, Diop's extensive security background will be immediately put to the test as Senegal's dual leadership attempts to navigate intense regional terrorism, spearhead economic integration, and forge a critical diplomatic path to bring the breakaway Sahel states back into the fold.
Je garde à l'esprit le long héritage de 50 ans d'efforts de solidarité et de construction patiente, portés par la vision et l'engagement de nos illustres anciens, qui ont cru envers et contre tout en l'idéal de l'intégration. Je m'engage avec vous à faire vivre cet héritage en l'adaptant aux défis de notre temps, à savoir la sécurité collective, la stabilité institutionnelle, la souveraineté politique et économique, et une voix de l'Afrique de l'Ouest plus audible et plus crédible.
Kuna mtu anashindwa akiniambia ati mimi na huyu jamaa huyu president wa Senegal tunafanana. Mnaona hiyo resemblance pale popote? Mnaona mali nakaa presidential no. Kuna wale wanaiona. Najua director haioni lakini fungua macho. Tazama. Presidential speaks for itself. It is presidential. Aya. Sasa kwa mazingaombwe za hii dunia kwa sababu hii story hii. Niliona nikashindwa tumefika hapa. Humanoid robots and advanced quadruped robotics, dogs, took center stage at the 2026 World Artificial Intelligence Conference, WIC, in Shanghai, offering a thrilling glimpse into the rapid evolution of embodied AI. Held at the sprawling Shanghai World Expo Exhibition and Convention Center, which expanded past 100,000 square meters for the first time ever. The event drew massive crowds eager to watch humanoids play football, pour tea, paint, and execute complex industrial tasks. A major highlight was the practical evolution of robotic dogs. Industry specialists demonstrated how retrofitting these quadrupeds with mechanical arms allows them to transition from passive visual monitoring tools into active operational units capable of executing high-stakes power line and security inspections. With over 300 products making their global debut, the demonstrations proved that AI-powered machinery is moving out of research laboratories and directly into commercial, industrial, and consumer markets, showcasing everything from warehouse manufacturing units to consumer robots designed to play musical instruments, take photographs, and even provide therapeutic massages. Wadau, sijui kama ni mimi peke yangu hapa nimepata makunyonyo kidogo. Ridhimo kwa kidogo hivi. kwa sababu ya history. Because can you imagine, hapo nyumbani mko na Kabosco. Kabosco kako hapo nyumbani. Alafu hako Kabosco kanafanya vitu kama kucheza keyboard. Ama Bosco anacheza wandende. Bosco anakuja anakupea massage. Bosco anakupea massage juu unasema, leo imekuwa siku mzito kazini. Bosco, kuja cheza kama wewe. Alafu, a lot of tasks that are being done by humans are being handed over now even more to robots who, rather which, you see, humans, they are not persons, to robots which actually have the ability to be more efficient and replace us, but hatuna ile guarantee that wako hapo juu yetu, juu kuna mtu yote anaweza shikwa tu na kikitu amue, wacha niingie kwa hii system nifanye hii kitu. And you remember, hizi robots, kama hizo dogi, unasikia zinaweza provide security. Aya, uko na Bosco hapo hivi akionaga mwizi, anapiga wuu, kila mtu anaamka anatokea. Hii Bosco robot itafanya hivyo ama ita-respond ku-neutralize huyo mwizi. Na kama inaweza neutralize huyo mwizi, inaweza ku-confuse siku moja na mwizi. Juu sasa Bosco hawezi ku-confuse. Bosco anajua master wake. Hii robot juu iko programmed. Na saa zingine programs zinakuwaga na glitches. Si Bosco, haya. Acha tumalizie story basi. In a brilliant fusion of civic romance and athletic obsessions, 725 couples officially tied the knot at Guadalajara's FIFA Fan Festival on Friday, transforming the tournament's central fan zone into a massive open-air wedding venue. Oh yes, held at the historic Plaza Liberación ahead of the high-stakes World Cup final between Spain and Argentina. The historic collective ceremony was organized free of charge by the municipal government, saving participant lovebirds up to $2,000 in routine legal paperwork fees. Officiated directly by Guadalajara Mayor Veronica Delgadillo, the unique event invited local residents to swap standard formal wear for football passion, resulting in rows of brides walking down the aisle in traditional white veils paired with Mexico national team shirts, alongside grooms donning the colors of their favorite domestic clubs. While many newlyweds jokingly admitted the mass ceremony provided a much-needed joyful memory after the host nation's early exit from the tournament, the sprawling celebration effectively showcased the cultural soul of the city, permanently intertwining the grand finale of the 2026 World Cup with a landmark milestone for hundreds of local families.
I'm wearing a football-themed outfit, the Mexico shirt, and, as a bridal touch, a veil. In the end, it's the detail that makes me a bride while letting me get married comfortably and feel at ease.
We are in the city of Guadalajara, the most Mexican city, also the heart of Western Mexico, where there is so much history, tradition, and wonderful architecture, and which has hosted the excitement of hundreds of thousands of people. It's a wonderful place to hold a mass wedding. We completed all the required procedures, and more than 600 couples responded.
Kuna Alejandro mahali alikuwa nyumbani akisema, I'm sorry baby, I know you wanted a wedding, but we can't have a wedding because $2,000 ni ngumu kupata saa hii. Alafu meya wa Guadalajara anasema, waiver, free, kujeni muowe, na hata sitaki mkuje na suti, kujeni na jezi za football. Na hivyo ndivyo World Cup imedecide till death do us part inaanza saa hii. Kwa hivyo tupige hesabu, tuko mwezi wa Julai, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Baada ya miezi 9, April itakuwa na mambo. Hadi hapo tumetamatisha kipindi cha leo. Kama vile tunasemaga hapa, leo nitabadilisha. Buenos dias, nasi mkae poa.